Hi, I'm Diana with Stuck in Stitches. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to sew on my mother's vintage sewing machine. I've got 4 blocks left to do, and I wanted to tell you, yes, we completed fixing this machine. And the funny story that goes with this is at the end, all we had to figure out why was the thread breaking in the eye of the needle? Why? We couldn't figure it out. I sat here and looked at him on the table, watched him thread it, and he would do it. He's like, I've checked the tension. It keeps breaking at the eye of the needle. Maybe I need to switch out to your sewing machine needles. I'm like, no, we bought the ones that go with that machine. I don't understand it either. So I looked it up. The options were change the thread, rethread it, or the tension. He goes, well, I've checked the tension, it's okay. So as I'm watching him, I said, let me come around and I will see if it's threaded right. And it dawned on me, he was threading it from left to right in the needle instead of right to left. So the thread was catching. It was getting twisted around the eye of the needle. So we both kind of looked at each other and laughed about it. We're like, something so simple can affect your sewing machine, and it's amazing what stops you in your tracks. So it's important when you have an issue, go through all the steps. Check your thread, make sure it's done right, make sure you're threading the machine right, your needle's in place properly, check everything. Your bobbin even, maybe your bobbin's twisted or something. You know, the thread can be. Your tension might not be right. So we got it all straight. The machine is ready to go. So I thought on the last day I would go ahead and sew on this baby and enjoy it one last time before I send it off. So I'm going to bring you down. I have 4 blocks left to do on this pattern of 12 stars. So I have 4 left to do. I've been working on them a little bit. So enjoy. I'm going to bring you on down and we're going to do some sewing. So I've got my square all set up. I had started it. I'm getting ready to do the next one. Now the funny thing is, on this sewing machine, she's got a different setup on her 1/4 inch, where I'm used to going in this way. But with this setup, I have to be careful because I have to go in this way because the 1/4 inch is on the outer part of it. So this is all set up. Let me make sure it's all correct. So I know what side. I've made a few mistakes with this today, but anyway, it is ready to go. How many vintage sewing machines, please tell me, that everybody has? Let me make sure I've got enough thread in here. Everything's all hooked up. What's going on here now? Might be out of, let me see here. The thread has come undone. I got caught here, so let me fix that. Did not notice that earlier. So let me go ahead and so it's right to left when you thread it. I got it on the first time. First try. Yes. My eyes aren't too bad yet. Okay. Let me look at this again. It goes this way. So again, there is a right and a left foot for each sewing machine for the 1/4 inch. And I set my foot up different than this one. Okay. So I have to be very careful to the side. So how many sewing machines, vintage ones, that everybody has? Is there an average? Like, I'd be curious to know. Two vintage, one vintage, an average of how many machines you have that are old. So one thing we didn't fix is the cutter. It's a little rusty and it doesn't cut well, so I pulled out one of my little thread cutters to help me cut my thread. So I always like to lay my patterns out so that you know, so you can see what you're doing if there's directionals on them. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these. And then I go back and lay it back out. So let me make sure it's all right before I go back. And the other thing is with this pattern, since the pieces are so small, I'm going to go ahead and open up and not push to one side. So I've got my rolling pin. I use my finger and sometimes the rolling pin, or both. Spread it open. This goes this way, this goes this way, like so, and this one will go here. Let's make sure it's all good. Now I need my square here. I'll just grab one from here. So these are ready for the rows to go together. So I'm going to go ahead and do my next square, get them all ready, and then I'll just go through them each for each row. So this one I've already started. Go ahead and start with this one. Sounds a lot better than it did when we first got it, that's for sure. There we go. Okay. Open these up. I'll finger press these so it's a little faster. That's in the center. I kind of feel that sometimes when you sew small things that it's important to, there we go, it's important to backstitch because they're tiny and you're really trying to manipulate them more. Sometimes I do that. So that goes there. That looks good. And I do have a good stockpile of 8 here, all ironed and ready to be put together. So I've got these ready. These are ready. This can go on here. This one goes together. This machine is just so fun. I can't believe how smooth it's moving. It's all metal. It's just lovely, really is. Very proud of myself and my husband getting together like a team and working on this, trying to figure things out. Next two. I actually think it sounds better than my own machine. Okay, go ahead and cut that, and those rows will be ready. Good. Move you back a little bit. Maybe you can see what I'm doing. Go ahead and open it. Normally I go to one side, but like I said, what I like to do is open these up because they're small. The bulk is, I think, a lot more. There's a lot more bulk in the smaller items. It just seems that way. So this one. On top, let me cut this, and I'll press them, everything open like I did with these. These are the back side of what they kind of look like. I just think it'd be less bulk for these small things. I'll trim it all up before I do the next step. And one thing I noticed, when you go to one thing that helped me anyway, when I went to put these corners together and get the seam sewn, I would always miss it. I couldn't figure out how to do this, and then I just stuck my needle through the seam to the next seam of the next row and got it lined up. Then I put my pins in. You'll see me do that. And that where the magic was happening, because if I didn't do that, I was always taking it out. And that's when the frustration happens. And I'm sure you all, learn something new every time with different quilting styles or patterns or projects. For me, it was because this is smaller and it's a star, which I haven't done stars in a long time. The stars were giving me trouble because I couldn't remember how to get them to meet up. You always make sure your 1/4 inch is pretty good. Okay, so that's another one. This one goes here. That keeps getting knocked off. So I've got 1, 2, 3. This one's ready. That one's ready. And this one's almost ready. I like to go and put all the pieces together and then sew them all as a whole. This one kind of looks big. Make sure that's okay. Yeah. For some reason my middle square looks big. I'll just have to make sure I bring it down 1/8 of an inch to match up with the other side, because the side and this block match well. So it should be down, yes. So we'll get it. I'll trim that up. Let's see. Trim that up now. If I've got to trim this up a little bit. And trimming it from the back is the best, I think. For me anyway. Let me get my rotary cutter. And I just do a little smidge. If it's still a little too big, it's okay. I think it's closer than it was. I don't want to take too much off and then mess it up. I just line it up with the 2 blocks on the other side. Okay, that looks a lot better. Goes there. This has the blue on the other side. Okay. And I feel like I'm, doing assembly line sewing, and it's working out a lot faster. I gotta remember I had to do the side. So. What's funny about this vintage sewing machine, the pedal has buttons on it, so your toes are pushing the buttons instead of the whole pedal, the pedal as a whole to press down on it. So it's a little odd. For me, it's a different process. So I don't even know if that pedal was original foot. But original pedal, I should say. Okay, got that one ready. This one's ready. This one's ready. 3. Let me get this one together and finish up after that. Okay, these 2 together. Please like, subscribe, and tell your friends about my channel. I'm trying to boost it up. I'd love to have people join me. I do like to crochet. I haven't really posted anything on crocheting. I've only got one small project, and that's my clock. I have only one small crochet project I'm doing right now. It's a little decorative scarf that you wear, like it's blue and silvery. Looks really good against a white sweater or white shirt. It's not really for warmth, but it's It's pretty. That's why I decided to do it. It's very open and airy. If I get that done, maybe I'll show it to everybody. Okay, there's my other clock going. So this will be the last one sewn together here. Then I'll get the rows together when I'm done. That's the top. Let's see what I do here. 1, 2, 3. Oops. The other thing is I like to start at the bottom of a square versus up here, because then this gets snagged and it gets skewed. So I like to start from this end anyway, and luckily that the 1/4 inch is set up where I would turn this around anyway. But it just, if you're having difficulties, try to see if you can turn it in another direction to get to that point where you want to sew, so you don't end up messing up that seam line. Okay, and then I've got the last of this one. I hope everybody got out today. It's just beautiful. I keep wanting to do that way. It is just lovely out. It's a nice sunny day, breezy, comfortable out. I'm getting excited. There's a wedding coming up that I'll be going to. Looking forward to that. I have my clothes all ready for it. So anyway, got the middle and the bottom. So I'm going to stop there and I'll go back and sew all the rows together. Just wanted to do a little sewing on the sewing machine today and wanted you all to see that this baby is finished. So she's going to get new bobbins. She got a new bobbin case that the bobbins go in. She got a new piece on the front that does the attention. She got some pieces that were cleaned, redone. The whole machine's oiled and cleaned inside, and we're surprising her with a couple free things that we wanted to add to it, just to tell her how special she is to us and the family, and we want her to enjoy it. And that is a manual for one of the things. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good day, and take care. Bye-bye.